Republicans took it based on what your conversations?
Yeah, I think it's starting. I mean, it's really in the early days of that whole initiative. But my understanding is that groups like Early Vote Action and others, they're conservatively directed, are going after at least. So it's number one, people get busy. Number two, it gives you the option, and people don't realize this, but you just because you request a mail-in ballot does not mean you have to mail it in. Mm-hmm. So I did that myself. I requested it. I got it. I said, okay, this is great. This is exactly how it's working. And I just took it to the courthouse and handed it in myself, and really felt good about the fact that they processed it immediately. And quite frankly, I got a email reminder that my vote had been cast. So it's nice to know that this is something that I will say candidly. I think the Republicans have lagged the Democrats for a long time in terms of using that tool, and now they're catching on. And groups like Turning Point and others are really promoting it. And I think you're going to see that's going to help the people that, quite frankly, may not be the diehard voters. Right. That maybe they get turned away. The weather's not great that day, or whatever. Something else comes up in their lives, and I think a lot more Republicans and conservatives will end up voting like the Democrats have in over many elections. So I think it's refreshing. I think it's a way to even the playing field, and ultimately we'll let the best candidates win.
Do you think the Republican Party in Pennsylvania will over time become resistant toward reversing it and getting rid of mail-in?
No, I don't. I think they'll realize that this is I'll call it a rule strategy based on the rules the way they are. Mm-hmm. And then if the rules change, which there's a lot of people, 80% of our unofficial polls are saying they want to change that. But until those rules change, I think they will try to play the game with the rules as they are. And then down the road, if the rules change, they'll go back to the way that they used to do it. But again, for now, I've been watching this for many years, and now there's a different perspective, especially from the younger people that are coming up and getting involved in politics. And like I said, I think you're going to see some changes, maybe some subtle changes in this primary, but because it's not a lot of contested races, it's hard to gauge. I think you're going to see it a lot more in the fall.
So if the SAVE Act does get passed, is there any chance that would have any influence at all in time for this year, this election cycle? If it passed this next month, is that going to impact anything in the fall?
It would depend on what the effective date is. I mean, are they going to make the effective date, January 1, or are they going to make the effective date next week? So it just depends, what Congress does.
Sure.
If they pass it at all. And at the state level, sometimes when we have legislation, sometimes the effective date is immediately. Other times it'll say the effective date is 30 days from now. Sometimes it's a year from now. So it just depends. But realistically, there's a lot that goes into you were a commissioner. You know what goes into an election. Yeah. Well,
it's hard to change.
Now there's
midstream.
They have to do 2 elections, in the fall, 2 elections in the spring, the mail-in one, then the normal one. Yeah. So it would be quite a thing, I think, changing everything for this fall. I mean, I'm not saying that won't happen, but, any major changes, we'll just have to see what happens.
So it may be in terms of what's happening this year, this all-important midterms, kind of nebulous. It's a weird place to be, in May. I mean, things could change significantly or not at all. I mean, if that wears in the psyche or even makes a difference in the fall for people that are going to vote anyways and feel committed to a certain either individual or cause or whatever informs their vote. Any thoughts on that?
I just, we talked about earlier, younger people could change their minds based on the events. The closer we get to general election, independent voters, truly independent voters. And I think because of the closeness of recent elections, that it will be up to those groups, relatively small, but still influential, I think. And they'll react to, the issues we talked about, affordability and other things right in front of their face that they can actually feel and see.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good point. And isn't it interesting, Gavin, that when, no matter how it turns, it always seems to be close.
Yeah.
You're looking at the PA House, and I mean, it's close, Brad. It's close in the sense that, a big vote over here could swing the whole tide of the House. I mean, right? And we talked a little bit about that. Do you see that as being those races? Are you aware of those in those districts being contested? Do you anticipate any changes?
Well, I hope there's some changes. I mean, I want to be in the majority, but yeah, it's going to be interesting this fall. It's probably an understatement, and there's so many races that are close. There's people that win with 51% of the vote, or 52% of the vote, or 53%, and all those seats could change, or it could be like 2 years ago and none of those seats changed.
Right.
So now, something I think's interesting is people like to talk about groups and say, well, young people this, elderly people that, but within those groups, there's huge variances. Right. And like, if say somebody graduated from college and they owe, $50,000 in student loans. If they were a nursing major, they probably got a job before they graduated, all lined up, and they're going to be doing well. If somebody else was a poetry major, they haven't found a job yet, and they still have that loan to pay off. If you have a young couple that bought a house, 3 or 4 years ago, they have a 5% mortgage. A couple that buys a house now might have a 7% mortgage. So they're paying hundreds of dollars a month more. So when you look at affordability issues, if you're trying to pay a student loan